Hey, you guys, today I've got a message for you if you have been dealing with toxicity in your life. And I'm thinking about like a toxic environment that you have been a part of that is having a tremendously negative impact on your life, on your emotional state, mental state, um, on your well-being, generally speaking, okay? So you've been dealing with it, all right? And I want to talk about, well, what now? Okay? So the first thing I think that makes a difference in situations like these is to become aware, okay, that the environment that surrounds you is in fact dysfunctional. I know toxic is a big word these days and people use it here and there, but I'm talking about a level of dysfunction that is impacting you at the level of your DNA, yes, at the level of your nervous system, and I'm talking about the brain, the enteric nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, not just, this generic, oh, your nervous system's impacted. Yes, but there's so many different nervous systems that people fail to distinguish. And being a neuroscientist, of course, I want to draw your attention to that. When someone says, oh, your nervous system's dysregulated, well, which nervous system you're talking about? The autonomic, the sympathetic part of the autonomic, the parasympathetic, the central nervous system, the motor neurons, the enteric, it's vast. So again, that's my little rant as a neuroscientist. Okay. But back to you. Okay, back to you being in this dysfunctional environment. And what I mean, that can present itself in the form of a dysfunctional family structure, that you've been in since birth, maybe, or maybe you've come into one, maybe you married into one, a dysfunctional structure, family structure. Maybe you work in a dysfunctional slash toxic work environment, okay, which literally has you burnt out, has you stressed out, not sleeping at night, okay? So that could also be a physical environment. Maybe you live in a very, very congested place that's literally physically impacting you, and causes a lot of anxiety in that sense. So environment here, see what fits for you, whether it's a social environment or an emotional or a physical or maybe a spiritual environment. I mean, some people are born into cults, and that's a dysfunctional environment to be born into, spiritually speaking. Not to say that spirituality and cults are linked. I'm not talking about that kind of thing, but if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So your environment matters because it impacts you at the level of your DNA. That's right. So back to epigenetics. I'm gonna bang on about epigenetics because your environment impacts the way that your DNA is expressed. If you're right now in a toxic environment, your DNA genes that are responsible for positive behaviors like dopamine, oxytocin, the love hormone, and the pleasure neurotransmitter that there's a surge of when you experience immense joy, right? Dopamine gets a bad rep, but it's ultimately a pleasure neurotransmitter. It's only bad in situations where it's misused, where we misuse our surroundings and substances. Okay, back to you in your environment. Yes, it has an impact on your DNA, such that stress genes get upregulated and you express a lot of cortisol, stuff like that. Maybe not a lot of GABA, which is the calming neurotransmitter. All right, so your physiology changes in these kinds of environments. Well, what do you do? Well, how do you get out of it? The answer to that is it's pretty straightforward, okay? Once you become aware of that kind of environment that surrounds you, you need to take yourself out of that environment because there's absolutely no way that you will heal and get better in that kind of environment. I know it's easier said than done, but believe you me, I have done it. more than once. I'm talking dysfunctional family environment. I'm talking about dysfunctional workplace environment, and things like that. All right. So I've done it, and that literally is how you heal, is you take yourself out of that environment. And yes, you can go into hermit mode and isolation, or you can place yourself in a supportive environment. All right. But there definitely needs to be some introspection between the two. Okay. But within positive environments, you will flourish. They will support your well-being, and that's how you'll know. Okay, I hope this was of value to you, and if it was, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you think this will make a difference to someone's life, please share it with them. Thank you, and until next time.